welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, March 10th, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Various local small and micro business representatives were yesterday, Thursday, March 9th, involved in a membership workshop on productivity improvements hosted by the St. Vincent Employers Federation in collaboration with the International Labour Organization, the ILO, and the Caribbean Employers Confederation, the CEC. The workshop was aimed at assessing issues affecting productivity in the workplace, as well as finding ways to improve these issues as a way of enhancing economic growth. We hear more in this report from Nikita Tony.
Focusing on the team understanding issues of productivity and exploring ways of improving, the St. Vincent Employers Federation, SVEF, in partnership with the International Labour Organization, ILO, and the Caribbean Employers Confederation, CEC, hosted the 9th Regional Tripartite Productivity Improvement Workshop on Thursday, March 9th at the NIS Conference Room, highlighting that every employer, whether within the public or private sector, desires to optimize productivity in their workplace. President of the SVEF, Helena Thomas, said this desire should also be reflected by all employees.
Optimize productivity in the workplace is a win-win situation for both employers and employees if everyone play their part. My hope is, as we go through the day and explore the ways and means of improving and optimizing productivity, that the participants will return to their various workplaces and implement some of what they would have learned.
Senior Specialists of Employers Activities at the ILO, Decent Work Team and Office for the Caribbean, Vanessa Falla, while giving an overview of issues coming out of the previous 8 regional workshops, stressed the need to address issues such as absenteeism and presenteeism and how employers can play a role in enhancing productivity.
Productivity is the responsibility of the employers. The employers has to set the tone as far as what kind of productivity that they are expecting from the workforce. But over and above that, employers has to also provide the necessary tools to assist their employers to, or their employees to be productive. Where when there's an issue of non-performance, it's not dealt with immediately. You know, you let it drag and drag and drag, and by the time you want to deal with it, it's already a very poisonous situation. So we spoke about the importance of managers really taking the lead and managing and supervising, and while you do that as well, understand your legislation, understand what your employment legislation or labor relations requires.
Pointing out decent work is essential to a person's well-being, keynote speaker and also SVG's Labour Commissioner, Narissa Gittins, echoed the call of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves for an increase in productivity among all sectors, noting that an ineffective monitoring and evaluation system has led to inefficiencies in the public service. Gittins suggested ways in which these issues can be addressed.
We need to have an evaluation and a system, management and evaluation system, which deals with our objective. That is in all business houses, private sector, as well as within the public sector. That we should be reshaping and repositioning the role of the key tripartite partners. We don't have to agree on every single thing, but at least when all the parties are at the table, you have all the ideas, and from that, in my estimation, can make a much better decision. I am pleading to have our legislation updated and reviewed because there's so many loopholes in that piece of legislation. It's amazing. So we need to have the legislative framework updated.
It is hoped that the issues identified as well as suggestions on the way forward coming out of yesterday's workshop will go on to improving productivity in the workplace and essentially enhance socio-economic development. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
With the objective of reviewing the 2017 national budget through the perspectives of the workers, both in the private and public sectors, a town hall meeting was held last evening by the SVG Teachers Union in collaboration with the Public Service Union at the French's House. Highlighting the importance of thinking objectively as well as analyzing anything of national importance and how they may affect livelihoods, President of the SVGTU, Oswald Robinson, expressed his elation in being a part of such an essential and timely initiative.
Very happy from the Teachers Union to join with the Public Service Union to create this opportunity for the Vincentian public to share your views in a mature, responsible, objective way. And I'm extremely happy that we could create this opportunity. This is not the first activity that we would jointly showcase. There are other activities that both unions have in store. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag tonight, but you would hear from us in due course.
Sharing the sentiments of the SVG-TU President of the Public Service Union Elroy Boucher noted that the event seeks to provide an avenue for the voices of not only union members to be heard, but the entire Vincentian public.
In the past, when we would have heard of particularly the many taxes that that we had to face or that were passed, and the public officer, it comes directly at times from our pockets. We don't have any control over that. We just sit and we talk about it in our little corners. No one knew what the position of the unions were. We were quiet. So we are no longer quiet. We are no longer quiet on budget issue. We are no longer quiet on social issues. We will have a voice on whatever the issues are that affect each and every one of us.
Presenting on some of the policy implications of various issues arising from the budget, trade economist and panelist at last evening's event, Coles Vandal, outlined that a budget is not only supposed to represent income and expenditure, but also enable the creation of linkages across sectors through policies and programs, which was essentially missing in the 2017 budget.
Primary concern, as I go through the budget, I saw pieces of different things. And it was not holistic in its approach, because very often the policies and programs were not connected across the various sectors. And this is essential if the developmental thrust is going to take place. There must be connection, there must be synergy within these sectors.
Certified forensic accountant and panelist at the town hall meeting, Kirk De Silva, focused on the budgetary deficit and public debt as outlined in the 2017 budget. Regarding the public debt, De Silva stressed the need for the question of how much is too much to be addressed, as well as analyzing the country's fiscal situation.
Just take figures in isolation, in analyzing the budget. That is, maybe if I was an opposition member in Parliament, I won't be saying these things. I'll be tearing the public debt to pieces and so forth. But I believe we have to analyze it and be prudent about it and be honest about it. How much is too much, though? I believe that 85% is high, and that interest payments and so forth, the repayment would become a burden, and we must therefore start managing our public debt.
Observed as tax month, the Inland Revenue Department has over the years utilized the month of March to highlight and sensitize the Vincentian public, especially taxpayers, about issues concerning taxation and tax administration here in SVG. In an interview with SVG-TV on Thursday, Controller of the Inland Revenue Department, Kelvin Pompey, highlighted his department's outreach strategies and the importance for taxpayers to comply with tax legislations. We hear more in this report from Nikita Tony.
Under the theme Developing the Nation Through Efficient and Effective Tax Administration, the Inland Revenue Department is observing Tax Awareness Month as they carry out various activities and measures to sensitize the Vincentian public about taxation and to get taxpayers in compliance. Cognizant that the best standards and practices must be used to offer quality services, Comptroller of the Inland Revenue Department, Kelvin Pompey, outlined that with complex taxation legislations, it is his department's obligation to inform persons about their rights and how they can comply with tax laws.
Yes, we have been saying let's make taxation less taxing. Ask how comply now. Taxpayers, we have teams at present going out to the different businesses and institutions offering advice and assistance in filling out returns, electronic returns. Customer Appreciation Day, there is an in-house debating competition that would be held. We have had our church service that was done Monday gone at the Kingston Methodist Church. We would be having, of course, our usual exhibition. And generally, activities aimed at educating and sensitizing taxpayers.
Pointing out that he is so far pleased with the department's outreach strategies, Pompey highlighted the utilization of electronic filing and other technological measures implemented to deliver more efficient services to taxpayers.
And this is critical since come 2018, we hope that year, that tax filing for 2017 being done in 2018 would be the last year we would be doing manual filing of personal income tax returns. We'll be launching our electronic receipt system. That is, all of our receipts received from the cashiers would now be in an electronic form. And this we expect would cut down our waiting time in line by almost a third. Time has come where government departments should be in a position to accept payments via debit and credit cards. So we are actively pursuing such also.
Despite the noted overall increase in compliance by all sectors, Pompey raised concerns in the low level of self-employed individuals and sole traders in compliance with taxation legislation.
We have recognized that a taxpayer who is educated, who is informed, is a taxpayer who is much more compliant. Are assessed where they haven't filed, or that they pay the taxes outstanding where these taxes have been assessed. Because over the past 3 years or so, we have noticed a decrease in the compliance level of persons who are self-employed and professionals or sole traders.
With the next 3 weeks considered to be the peak period for tax payments, the comptroller urged all taxpayers to take advantage of the assistance being provided, both in-house and externally, by the department, to ensure that they are in compliance and that their taxes are paid.
We anticipate that hundreds, if not thousands, of persons will be coming into the department for answers and for assistance one way or the other. And the end of March is the deadline for companies with a December year end to file their returns. Additionally, all self-employed persons, professionals, and employees are required to file returns by March 31st. March 31st is also the end of the quarter, so the liquor license and such are due, as well as driver's license, estimated taxes, motor vehicle license.
Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
Lawyer for the appellants in the election petitions case, Kay Bacchus, is inquiring why they are unable to see the ballots in question from the December 2015 vote. Petitions, who was speaking at a media conference held by the NDP on Thursday, claims that over 300 ballots were illegally counted and that an inspection should be granted.
That is far from correct, despite the fact that Astafan, the lawyer for the respondents, went on air and tried to say exactly the same thing. However, he retracted. So it began with this erroneous decision with respect, Mr. Justice Cottle, where you said that we were fishing. We were not, because we had given cogent evidence that especially over 300 ballots were illegally counted, which means that those ballots should have been void, okay? And we had also given evidence that, I think it was only in the Central Leeward one that we had made that application. So it started with that. And in my view, Justice Cottle was wrong to make that decision on both counts. We were not fishing. We had given sufficient evidence that any fair-minded and right-minded person listening to that evidence, and I'm not impugning the judge, I'm just saying from our perspective, we thought that that inspection should have been granted.
On Tuesday of this week, the Court of Appeal in St. Lucia ruled in favor of a re-entry of the petitions in the High Court here. The appeal court declared that there was an apparent bias in the deliberation of Justice Brian Cottle, who struck out the petitions from the local high court in 2016. Meantime, one of the lawyers for the respondents, Anthony Estefan, is making it clear that he and his team were not outmaneuvered at this week's Court of Appeal hearing in St. Lucia, which went in favor of the appellants, allowing the election petitions to be re-entered in the local court. Speaking on Radio Thursday, Estefan stated that his team addressed all issues raised by the NDP lawyers, inclusive of the argument that they did not have an opportunity to raise objections, and noted that records show that this was not the case. Estefan added that he is currently awaiting the written judgment of the Court of Appeal to determine on what basis the court made its decision on Tuesday.
Sufficient opportunity for objection, and the record reflected the fullest participation before the judge. But there were people in the court who listened to Starkey John and I address the court on the 16th of June on the motion of confidence. And I do not know yet whether the Court of Appeal relied on the evidence of no time to object or whatever the situation is. We need to find out, because the record showed that the judge prior to the 16th of June was not prepared to give directions for trial. Because he wanted to hear the motion to strike first and then decide whether or not to give directions for the trial. So I need to know whether the court considered things that were different to what was in the written submissions, which formed the basis of the application for the appearance of bias.
The veteran lawyer added that he and his legal team are confident of victory in the case. He, however, expressed disappointment with the ruling by the appeals court.
Well, we felt we were going to win, but we worked on it assiduously, relentlessly. We prepared for it in St. Lucia. We prepared for it before. I was in constant communication with Richard when I was in Florida. We had everything filed before the court.
But
our focus clearly was on the merits of the appeal.
But you were shocked at the outcome. You were shocked
on the issue of bias. Disappointed, very disappointed.
But
I'm not going to deny that.
On the outcome in terms of the ruling, you were shocked.
But I don't know what shock means. I mean,
well, it knocked you down. It knocked you down, basically. You said that.
No, but that ruling. Years. But my friend, I've been in this business too long not to be shocked. That was an option open to the court, but it was a far-fetched option as far as I was concerned. So they have it ruled that way. I am extremely disappointed.
Scores of students across the country today participated in the 3rd National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival and History Expo at the Victoria Park. This comes as activities kick into high gear to commemorate National Heroes Day and identifying the need to instill and preserve this country's heritage. The Curriculum Development Unit in the Ministry of Education thought it necessary to host the event. Alicia Miller tells us more about the event in this report.
Activities in high gear for National Heroes Day to be celebrated here on Tuesday, March 14th. Students from schools nationwide gathered at the Victoria Park today, Friday, March 10th, to participate in cultural events in honor of this country's national hero, Chief Joseph Chatouillier. Stressing for a deeper and solid foundation of local history in the education curriculum here, coordinator of the National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival, Maxine Brown, stated, "It is the way for the preservation of SVG's culture and heritage."
Teamwork is key. We continue to co-produce. We have now merged the Folk Festival and the History Expo in order to make the day a richer experience for you, as we expose you to what's truly ours, who we are, and where have we come from.
History Expo coordinator in the Curriculum Development Unit, Aldia Dyer, said such events help to pave the platform to foster love and respect for Vincential culture and heritage amongst the youths.
This event is tailored to encourage our students to interrogate and critique information presented as history and as facts. Thus, opportunities are provided for students to conduct research and make presentations. Finally, as you would see, oral history history is also an area of focus here.
Participating in today's activities was the New York-based Chief Joseph Chartier Dance Company. And Executive Director Felix Gamboa said though centuries have passed since Chatier's death, he is happy to see that the culture and heritage of the ancestors are still alive.
We may have been exiled from home, but guess what? I don't think we lost the fight because we kept our language, we kept our culture, we kept our tradition, our belief, our spirituality. It's been 220 years and Garifuna is still my first language.
The program also saw performances from a number of schools in skits.
Emancipation is liberation. Emancipation is freedom. Emancipation is liberation.
But they used to walk the land back in those days with pride, enough pride too. Of course, our Garifuna people were hard workers and they walk the land with the dasheen and the edos, banana, and don't talk about the cassava to make bamba and the ferry and the madongo.
And widely entertaining folk dances. It has been over 200 years since Chief Joseph Chartier was killed in battle. National Heroes Day will be celebrated here on Tuesday, March 14th. Nolisha Miller, The Evening News.
The Chief Joseph Chartier Dance Company will be making their mark here, performing at a series of events being held in commemoration of this year's National Heroes Day celebrations and the 4th International Garifuna Summit currently underway here. The New York-based dance company, which was scouted by the local Garifuna Heritage Summit Planning Committee, has been instilling the Garifuna culture through dance with some members originally from Honduras and Belize. Executive Director of the dance company, Felix Gamboa, tells SVG-TV News that being in SVG is a significant visit and one that has been long awaited.
Dream that have just come through. We have talked about St. Vincent since my childhood. It's part of our history. I did not know that I was going to get to come to St. Vincent on March 10, 1797. I'm overwhelmed with excitement, and it's also emotional at the same time because I know the history behind us. We are the survivors of those 2,500 that were exiled from Balizo to Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. It is a big thing for us. This is something huge. It's history for us. So we are. This is the first time, and as long as God gives me breath to breathe, this will not be the last one.
Gamboa, whose first language is Garifuna, stressed that the visit is mainly to help revive the Garifuna culture here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
We are trying to bring the culture back to St. Vincent. This is where all this started from. And to my understanding, it's not being practiced enough, or maybe not at all. And we have to bring that back. Too many people died to maintain the Garifuna culture. Too many lives were lost. We left St. Vincent 220 years ago, yet we're able to preserve our culture. We're able to preserve our music and dance and beliefs.
And how will you be commemorating Heroes Day with us, National Heroes Day?
National Heroes, we will be here. We are going to be doing a ceremony that we have specifically for the national hero. There are songs that we have literally written for the Chief Joseph Chartier that I've written myself. Choreographies that we've done especially for that particular day.
Meantime, Chairperson of the Garifuna Heritage Summit Committee, Zoila Ellis-Brown, said having the Chief Joseph Chartier Dance Company here will allow Vincentians the opportunity to realize the importance of preserving the Garifuna culture and heritage.
And hear the sounds of their music, the Garifuna's language that they are singing in, and at Peace Memorial Hall tomorrow night. On Friday night, we expect that the Peace Memorial Hall will be very full, that people will come and see them perform. And also they will be in communities so that the ordinary person who cannot reach Peace Memorial Hall will also be able to enjoy the heritage and music and the dancing that this group is bringing to us.
And what about on Tuesday?
On Tuesday there is a special official ceremony which involves official speeches and reading of wreaths, and they will be playing their part in that to pay homage to the national hero, Paramount Chief Joseph Chatouet. So they will be part of that celebration.
Meantime, Arnold Witty Martinez, a member of the dance company, expressed his elation to be an SVG as he noted it is an opportunity for him to connect with his roots and origins.
I anticipate this being a very spiritual journey for me because it's been a while since, it's been more than 220 years since the Garifuna people were exiled from St. Vincent, and there's still roots here that we need to dig into to find ourselves. And this is going to be a very spiritual journey for me because I'll be able to tap in and know where my roots began.